Okay, guys, back here with you. It's now it's early afternoon on April 2nd. Here we're going to finish up with the third place request. Yeah, as you guys saw the results here. So look at Netflix. Now I've got this up on the 3-day here, so we can get the full history of it. Now, I probably wouldn't surprise you here with this kind of parabolic move. I'm going to suggest we go into log scale so we can get a better look at that wave separation. So of course, just your eye immediately wants to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it doesn't look like we're done yet. So I think that while the 1, 2, 3, 4, granted this is very deep for a 4, if I'm not in log scale, well, here I can show you this. So from the from the 2 to the 3, very very solid, but look how deep that 4 is. But nonetheless, we don't overlap the 1, so it looks very different out of log scale. All right, but see, continuing on with that idea, I think so. Your eye wants to go 3, 4, 5, and we're done. But I just don't think it's there. I think we've got more to go here, and so I think the better count would have us going 1, 2. The 3 is in that ABC we just went through was the 4, and now we've got legs for the 5. So to really see that, we've got to get out of log scale here. So let me go down, let me go back to a daily here, and we'll focus in on this section here is where I think it's tricky. So I think you have to trade this as your 1, 2. So part of the problem is here, once we put in this low, there is not a 50% retracement in the entire move, right? It's just not there. These are all 23s, 38s. There's no depth of retracement until we get to this pivot. It's just it's just a rip, right? It's just nonstop. So here, coming off of this is the proposed 4 low. I think you've got to work the extension in the 1 so that you've got a 1, 2. Now here, we do get some wave relationship here that looked interesting. So from the 2 through the 3, if I get right on that. So here's our 50. Yeah, all right, so it's a straight rip down, so you might have to work that as an A, B, C. Maybe there's a truncated C there, but I still think that plays better than when we finish here. So if that's the pivot from the low here, and we've got a completed 1 wave here, we'll note here. So that's what I mean. We don't have any retracements of completed motive waves that are more than a 38 here. This is about as deep as we get. Now, it's not that it doesn't work in the 2 to the 3. It does work there, right? So here's golden zone, target. But if this is the completed 1 and we've got the 2, we got to pull from this prior low down here. So that's where we come up a little skinny on the 2, yet again, relative to this. Now, you might look there and say, how does that 2 to the 4, we looked at that. So the extension in the 1, obviously the 5th is the longer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 1. A, B, C gets a little ugly down here for this, essentially a double bottom into the 2 down here. Now coming up, right, it's anybody's guess where the 1, 2 is, right? Could be here, could be here. The reason I think it is actually here is, well, a couple of reasons. One, if I pull from the proposed 2 up to the proposed 3, well, I get a perfect 38 here, and we get a little pause at the first algo target, and looks like maybe a front run on the second. And then additionally, just in the context of checking to see, well, would that work? We've got to be sure the 3 is not the shortest. So if I grab that low, get right on it, length of the 3 projected from the 4, right, it's very close, right? So I'll make sure I'm right on there. There it is. Okay, so length of the 2, pardon me, from the 1, 2, length of the 3 projected from the 4, we're just shy of 100%, right? So it qualifies, meaning the 5th is shorter than the 3rd if that's the 2, right? So I think yet again, much like we had the extension in the 1 here into the 2, I think again in the 3rd we get the extension in the 1, 2, 3, 4, up we go. We get our 3rd at that degree. So there's a nice impulse in there. Again, though, extension in the 1. So this 4 is relative to this 2. So if I look at the 2 here, get right on it through the 3 here. Well, 50, right, again, it's deep, right? These retracements have been deep. So a little pause at the 50, right? Algos didn't need to defend, so then it keeps going here. But here's where they start buying. Right, we get through, but they don't need to continue to buy down here. So they get that. Now that will have a target way up above. So if this is 2, 3, pardon me, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C into the 4. Well, that's right. Here's this is where it makes more sense here, unlike the S&P, where it's harder to get your head around the idea that we could be in a 1 of the 5. So is there a trade here now? Well, right. So I would propose to you you're late to the buy side. So you're going to have to, if you're not in it now, we don't even know that that's completed here yet. We don't know that that's finished as the 1. Oh, shit. Let me go to the 4 hour here. The 2 is a little skinny, but you can get it to play, but the 5 may not be done here. There may be more legs in the 5th here. I think the 3 is fairly solid. So if we, and of course we've got earnings coming in 2 weeks. So you got to be aware of that. So 1, I've got it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you'd have to go 1, 2, well, we don't have a diagonal. So wicking off what I would propose looks like the 1, get right on that. So that looks like 1, 2. Be easier as a diagonal. Let's open that up. I suppose the alternate would be. So this looks like 1. Shit, that does overlap. So if that's the 1. 1, 2. Shit, does it overlap? Let's just look in there. So if I'm right on it. Yeah, so we get, so pulling out on that, 1, 2, I can't go 1, 2, so you might have to go 1, oh fuck, that's a little bit of a push here. So likely you've got a diagonal here. So 1, oh shit. What's the alternate here that we'd have 1, well, that doesn't look like that's going to work either. So 1, 2, A, B, C, 4. So you'd have to put, see, we don't overlap here. So you want to do it this way. So your eye wants to go 1, 2, A, B, C, 4, 5. It doesn't look, but we're not done. So this, let's get this up a degree. Let's go to micro, go to white. Okay, so if that's 1, 2, may not work. So we might have to go, so you might have to do it this way. So that may not work. So you might have to put the 3 over here. The 4 here is, so we get an ABC here. Now this could be 1, 2. If we're really going to rip here, it's a little, it's always harder with equities, right? Because of the gaps. So is that the 1, 2? You might have to do it this way. So you might have to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3. So you'd be on the smaller degree. We'd have this. So you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that. Let's get that sub-micro. I think that's what you're going to have to do, because, well, see, the problem is there are no retracements here to help guide you. So if that's the 2 into the 3. Well, so that helps a little bit there. So you're looking for the 4 at the 38, that's right where we get it. So then you could go 1, 2, oh, fuck, you still have the same problem. So you'd have to go A, B, C. So you'd have to go A, B. Shit, we may still not be done. I can't finish this 5 because we don't overlap here. It's kind of a, what the fuck do we? God damn, that is tight. That would sure make things easier if we did. Get right on that. Yep, we do. Okay, so I've got just enough here to get the diagonal to work. All right, so we could go, just barely makes it work. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, because we overlap here, so you can get the diagonal. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's, geez, that's not an easy one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that we're going to white. All right, so this has got to go up. Micro. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C comes down for the 4. So fuck, where are we? So does that work? So here's your problem. It's similar to the S&P. Where's the 1, 2? So we can't be done here unless we're we're going to do an expanded flat. So this can't be the 5 unless we're going to go A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'd have to just be kind of holding your count here till we get more clarity on where the hell the 5 is. If that's the 1, 2. See this, because you want to go 1, 2. Well, maybe you could do it this way. Hang on. Let's get it this way. So we might be able to do an A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B. So this looks like this has got more to go. All right, so very contingent on what's going to happen with earnings. Let's come down a degree. So any kind of negative impact, this is really ripe for a retrace. Boy, this is tough to get this to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'd have to go A, B, C into the 1 of a diagonal that's finishing in the 5th. Can't say I love it. This is your problem because you can't. So you can't go 1, 2, 3. Well, maybe you could. Doesn't look like it's long enough. So let's just check that. So if this is 1, 2, no, it's not, right? So you'd have to go. Fuck, that's a bitch, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of. This would have to be, oh shit, the color's fucking me up. Okay, so that we go. So 3, 4, 1, 2 of the 5th. So you're playing for an extension in the 5, unless I've got this wrong here. So even let's go down to the hourly. You've got an ABC, but you can't make it a diagonal. So you've got to go 1, 2, 1, 2. So this 1, 2 is looking for its 3rd up here. Looking for a 3rd up here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. Shit, is this all the way over here? God, it might be. Tough, right? It's a tough one because there's no retracement. So here's your best candidate for a 4, but that's tied to going 1, 2, 1, 2. 3, 4. We'd be doing 1, 2 again. I don't love it. I don't love this as a 1, 2. Shit, that's all still to come. So here, let's take this off. Tricky one. Well, shit, I see why you guys wanted to look at this. Where's your 2? Right, this less likely. That's the C. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I guess you could do it. You could get, but you don't want to be done there. So that would give us the 3 here. Fuck, God, this is a bitch. All right, so let's go 2, 3, 4, 5. That could work. Okay, so we go 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damn, it's not long enough. So let's check it. That's going to really be frustrating if it's not. So if that's 1, fuck, doesn't work. All right, so I can't go. So I'd have to go, could do it this way. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I got to get a 1. Oh, fuck, that barely works either. So we can't. So there we run into the problem of this being, it's not a diagonal. So unless you're gonna, no, it doesn't work. 1, 2, 3. So what's the alternate? Boy, that's hard to get that to finish. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You can't. You don't get an overlap, so you can't go 3 here. Unknown. Question mark. What is it? Let's put that in a big 24. Unknown. I do not know what we have here. I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, but I don't get it. So the problem is down here. Where's the 1, 2? Unless we're going to get some sort of an expanded flat, which is going to require this to now come down. I do not know what we have here. I cannot make the diagonal work. Even this can't work, right? 3 would be the shortest. What am I missing here? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's the 3, so it doesn't help here. So I can't finish here. 1, 2. Well, unless, let's get this. 1, 2. Maybe you could do it this way. So the 3. Fuck, you got the same problem. So this 4 is not done yet. So A, B, C, maybe you could do it that way. So you'd have to go here. So 1, 2, and that works. So then you'd have to go A, B, C here into the 3. So we'd be looking for something technical here between the start of the 1, the pivot of the 3. Well, there's the 50, so maybe that works. So we can go 1, 2, A, B, C into the 3 to try and finish this with a diagonal. A, B, C into the 4. Fuck, I think that would work it. So I was going to be left. Right, rarely can I not solve the puzzle, but that was A, B, C. So that has to be the 4. So this needs to kick here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is this, the 4? So that's the 1, 2. We're still trying to get the 3rd in here. So this 4 is yet to come. So this is the 5th, maybe the 3rd here. So back to that an algo target. 1 through the pivot of the 3rd. So maybe we get the 5th right here of the 3rd of the 5th. Shit, I don't see another way to count that. Boy, if you've got one, I'd love to see it. All right, members, post it up under the chart. If you're on YouTube, I'd be curious to see what you've got. I think that's our best candidate here because of the technical pivot here as the 4. That's what we're looking for it in a diagonal. But that's going to be finishing the 5 here. So we'd have it. That would be the 5 of the 3rd of this degree. So that degree has to go up to subminuet. So this is 1, 2, 3. So that, boy, that's symmetry. It's just god awful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't say I like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the alternate? There's no other way to get there because that can't be 1, 2 because that can't work as a 3. So I looked at this, maybe a 3, 4. So we'd bring over the 5 of the 3 and call that 1. So could that work? So then we'd have. Shit, right, I probably lost anyone watching here. Now this is just me trying to figure it out because it pisses me off. I can't get it. All right, 1, 2. This would be the 3 here. Okay, so we'd have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3. So we're trying to finish this 5th. Let's take that up a degree so it's easy to lose your place here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3. So this becomes the 4. And we're trying to finish the 5th with a diagonal. 1, 2, so A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C into the 3, A, B, C into the 4, right to the 50. That, I think, is the best candidate to finish this 5. So let's get that degree up. So we get this down to minuet. Okay, so that would give us all of that to get to a 1. Let's get that degree in something that would make sense. And we'll go to yellow so we can see it. Okay, so off of that, we're just trying to get the 1 to be done here. So if and when we get that, then the next trade opportunity, and maybe it takes some sort of a move off of earnings, which are coming up in 2 weeks, to give us that retrace. So something along these lines to come down here, and that's your opportunity to get long for you'd be looking for the 2 in the 5th. But that's brutal. But I think we got that there. I think if anyone's still watching. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that just seems like the only way you can get that to play, right? So from the 2 here, we gotta hold this little channel that we're in here. So from 2 and the 3, so you can see we've got a pretty nice channel there. So are we going to get a throw over here? Hard to say, but that's a brutal count. That's the only way I think we can get that to work. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the diagonal to finish the 5th of the 1. Right. So you want to trade something like that right now? Well, if you're shorter term on this, looking for the push from the 4 here, we know that's a perfect 50, so that's tradable. You have to make a decision as to whether you want to hold through earnings. If you do, so maybe a shorter term option is something to consider here. So looks like that's on track to go get that, right? So to get that. Now, so if it was me, I'd probably wait to see what the reaction is to earnings, right? To go into something, right? So it's a little. You got earnings 2 weeks away, so the vol is just going to increase as we get high. So as we get closer to earnings. So perhaps a little early to sell it. I mean, you'll be able to do some estimate on volatility based on what the forecasts are. Any kind of surprise, you're going to see lots of vol. It tends to be volatile around earnings anyway. So for me, I would wait and hope for some sort of a surprise that would put Netflix on sale. I like it much better here than trying to catch this last little push in what is a very squirrely looking diagonal. That's what I would suggest. If you're just, if you're a believer and you love Netflix and you just see nothing but upside, I mean, you could take the swing at it here, but do you want to carry it through earnings knowing that there's volatility coming, right? So then that's just individual traders' choice as to how they want to approach that volatility. But I love it here. I don't love it as much up here where we are because this is so unclear. All right, well, shit. That was kind of a tough one. All right, guys, that's about all I can add there. All right, sorry to take you through that, but that's pros and cons of doing it live. Okay, guys, hope you got something out of that. Talk to you later.